welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This I am very excited about. This is from LA LAN, which was played not too long ago in August. Upper right hand corner, we have the organizer Zen starting as the teal Protoss. Upper left hand corner, we have from Team Nom, NeonSword, as the brown Terran. I am actually not sure of the skill of either of these two guys. I think Zen's a pretty decent player out on Ladderland, but I haven't gotten a good look at either of them. This is going to be on Polypoid, and just in case you forget what Polypoid looks like, you have kind of the standard natural expansion. You've got that third that has the double ramp and kind of a wide area nearby. It's kind of like an interesting riff on the classic map. I almost feel like it's become the default as far as what is played on these days is the balanced map. It's like the new Fighting Spirit, I guess, arguably, Polypoid. Anyway, LA LAN has it's been run a couple times recently, but it really has some of the best in the country. For whatever reason, there ends up being a lot of really strong talent out on the West Coast. And I have a whole bunch of top BSL contenders. You got Jaeyoon out here. You have Shafir, who's awesome up and coming. You have Tenderization, who's a well-known guy out in the community. You have all sorts of players that are absolutely incredible, and it reminds me of the good old days, in quotes, of, feels weird to say good old days at this stage, of the Southern California LAN, or SoCal LAN. I actually met Day 9 for the first time at SoCal LAN 3, as well as Machine at SoCal LAN 3, and a lot of other guys that I'm like, those are kind of the top two names, I would say. There's Zurus Light is another one that people probably do not know as well, semi-old guy as well, and I could just go for slew of names, but it's really, this sort of tournament bracket is and the space of it is the thing that just makes me love StarCraft. It's like the community, it just, the warm fuzzy community happenings. And I wish we could get more small events like this going on. I think Sva was there as well. Awesome guy. Looks like we are going to get an initial scout from NeonSword, the upper right corner. Zen, in the meantime, sending he's opened up standard 1-gate cybernetics core into a simulator. But I'm going to do as much of this bracket as I possibly can before BSL 16 hits. If BSL 16 is right around the corner, I'll jump straight to the finals. If I was going to say this guy is probably, my guess is the best of the best out here is probably Jaeyoon, but there's a lot of guys that could shock and surprise him. In the meantime, Zen producing that initial zealot is going to make its way across. It looks like there's already a front door seal here for NeonSword, and he's got that factory underway. Only the single SCV on gas, so it looks like he is going to go ahead and press from that into expansion, but having some trouble scouting, or is he going to go for something proxy? So initially, scouting that brain corner. Upon seeing that, Zealot's going to go ahead and exit out and bring that SCV to the 3 o'clock location. We'll try to keep an eye on that. The Zealot also holding short mid-map, while this probe, which is already scouted bottom right, is going to check out bottom left. And the Zealot, let's see if it decides to make movements from here. Factory on the way. Barracks is remaining silent, so it's only going to be a single Marine. And now the Zealot making its way across. The Dragoon there as well. Could be some potential disruption of that natural expansion. NeonSword, with being so Marine light to start, looks like he's just going to go siege into expand. He's going to go ahead and build that command center in the protective cusp up north. All 3 units diving in just in case there's an expansion there to apply some pressure. The probe going to go up solo, scout things out, finds the Marine, and goes ahead and backs off. The Zealot engaging, however, seeing that there's only a single Marine. SCV's pulling off the line, but here's the thing. This Dragoon can attack those SCVs over the wall. That Marine is already down on a bit of health. It needs to stay alive on this corner. So, well, is that Dragoon going to start attacking along that corner or not? I believe it has range, but right now, yeah, there it goes. Bit of it must have been on some sort of bugged out stop position. The SCV's being pulled back. That supply depot still taking damage. Siege tank about halfway. Oh, that's unfortunate, because if Zen had that Dragoon actively attacking, would have been able to get some bonus damage, but it looks like he's gone ahead and gotten a Nexus, second gateway, and robotics facility in response, seeing that it is more baseline economic opener. That siege tank going to exchange some fire with this Dragoon. Once those shields are gone, Zen going ahead and backing off, is taking a bit of base damage and trying to sit outside of that siege tank's range and get some additional pot shots off. Not quite able to. Now going to hang out down here near that natural expansion. It's going to be a minute before siege check's finished, and NeonSword's going to need that to go ahead and force this Dragoon and that Zealot out of position to go ahead and get his natural expansion up and running. Zen transferring probes to that natural. Is not yet tacked on a second gas. We'll see. He does have Dragoon range, keep in mind. Opening up the front, has that second siege tank and also tacking on a second factory. Going to use that barracks to float and scout. No additional, a second Dragoon now coming up. Zealot eating a shot and some splash on that Dragoon. Dragoon getting taken out and the Zealot being forced back. So NeonSword now able to establish that low ground, get that second command center up, and those Dragoon and that Zealot going to have to back off from here. Observatory down at the natural, hiding a bit of tech there. Kind of an odd place for it. 2 gateways up and running, and it looks like it's just going to be 2-gate observatory into expansion to follow, and I assume a quick third from Zen to go for more of a macro-oriented follow-up to respond to NeonSword's early opener. Engineering bay up to, because keep in mind there's been 0 information on this side, but respect turrets down just in case there were Dark Templar or something else along the line. But Zen going ahead and opting for that third base. No additional SCV scout wandering out for NeonSword to get additional information, to get any sort of confirmatory information either way. So Zen should be pretty comfortable in grabbing this, an additional pylon to go ahead and seal that front just in case vultures are going to meander their way out. Observer making its way across. Zen seeing the resources to plop down that Nexus now. Well, maybe. Feel like I'm a little bit... There we go. A little bit too early in that regard. Feels like... I feel like that was my MO in the early days of StarCraft 2, was just calling things a little bit half-second too early. So getting back to that feels good to get back to roots. Anyway, 4 siege tanks on that wall. Observer going to go ahead and move up C, confirm that turret, so be careful. Backing out. Just barely 1 health left. Able to preserve itself. +1 weapons on the way. Academy coming online, and NeonSword, I assume, is going to play towards more the slope. The slope-based is possible. He'll go for level 2 weapons, level 1 armor push. But I have a feeling he's, actually going to go and try to take a quick third, particularly upon feeling the lack of pressure thus far. Nothing but siege tanks being fielded from him thus far, and is going to use that smattering and and you can look at the distance and the spacing with these siege tanks as well to deal with potential reaver or drop play. So yeah, he's going to go and try to get what I would say a little bit greedy and press forward and go ahead and grab his third to try to maintain that economic lead, saving resources to do so, planning turrets along the way. Second observer wandering up, gets taken out. I'm wondering if that was just a flat rally. 4 gateways up and running. Citadel of Adun plopped down for Zen. He's got the 3 bases up and running, and upon seeing movements towards that third, he's just going to go ahead and grab his 4th. So it looks like it is going to be a defensive macro game from here on out. I'm going to give Zen a little bit of a lead because upon establishing, so the 3rd command center being built interior to base, but no additional 3rd or 4th factory as of yet. So I believe NeonSword wants to rely on just going for a 3 base, make that 200 push, and Zen, by grabbing this 4th base, is going to have time to work towards that. So Comsat establishing, okay, yeah, there's 2 additional bases up, but let's see if there's any solid response. We're just now seeing mines and vulture speed being upgraded for vultures to go ahead and start wandering out on the map. And yeah, that Nexus at the 3 o'clock is going to come online. There's going to be a solid probe count. 20 supply lead currently for Zen, so he's in a really good position and can safely make that transition to Stargate tech here. He's already got that Templar Archives in place, is working on +1 weapons, and has already dropping that Arbiter Tribunal. So we'll be behind in upgrades overall, which is pretty standard these days as far as just flat Terran versus Protoss play. NeonSword going ahead and floating out that command center. No, and he honestly could have built that flat on the ground based on Zen's stance. So a little bit of delayed mining time from that. It looks like the SCV going ahead and scouting out that 9 o'clock base, and he's going to go ahead and maybe even think about taking it. This feels like a big risk because that would be spreading himself too thin, but looks like he's just building a clever missile turret at the 9 o'clock location in case shuttles sneak across this direction. Now we're seeing that 5th gateway come online, Starport already there to make its way towards +2 weapons, +1 weapons, and 2nd armory should be on the way shortly. Additional comsats being dropped from Zen to go ahead and take a peek at the gateway count and tech. We're seeing a 5th and 6th gateway come online. I take that back, a 7th gateway. I was expecting that maybe the 2nd Stargate. First Arbiter on the way. And some nice spread here from NeonSword otherwise to go ahead and check out that bottom right-hand corner. There's a pylon blockade otherwise, preventing additional vulture pressure that could sneak in and encroach, and Dragoons are there to engage otherwise. Troops starting to mount up for NeonSword. He's got that +1 weapons, and I think what we're going to see is, as soon as that +2 weapons comes online, a push from NeonSword, an attack from there. But as I say that, wandering out, going ahead and grabbing some territory by planting some mines along that edge. Maybe gonna poke here. Dragoons, I'm not sure if that was just genius timing or what. Huge supply lead for Zen, but walking across wholesale this minefield, no observer there to support. The Vultures trying to sneak in from behind. Those mines getting cleared. The Vultures taking damage otherwise. Oof, not great mine discipline here from Zen, running headlong into a lot of them. The observer now coming cross position, returning to the rest of the attack force. But NeonSword getting some good passive map control by getting the mines absolutely everywhere on Zen's side of the map. So first of all, he's going to see an army coming towards him when it comes, if it comes. He's going to go ahead and tack on a 6 factory, +2 weapons on the way, +1 armor on the way as well. He's got this 3rd base up, but not yet saturated. Adding an additional comsat up, so that's a bit of a detriment. So this would actually, and he's got the SCVs to go ahead and saturate that. So a bit of a deficit there, and he is falling behind Zen. Zen's just out macroing him. So Zen, even though at this stage has mostly been relegated to his side of the map, starting to clear these mines out, and as soon as Zen gets aggressive, he's going to be in a really strong position to kind of go macro toss and just start pushing NeonSword back across the map. More Zealots filtering in. Zealot leg speed, though, does not look like it's online. Looks like it's halfway finished. 2nd Stargate's been added on. Looking to see if we can see where their Arbiter has been fielded. I know there's an Arbiter out here. Has been built at some point. More Vultures sneaking across. Only Zealots here to defend at that 3rd, so if the Vultures, they have a brief opportunity to sneak in. They're kind of in the dark to know that that's open, but now wandering up, the Zealots with slow legs. And NeonSword, I missed it, moving up with the push, is going to go ahead and try to take on this 3rd. And let's see if this sparks Zen to go for a counterattack. Keep in mind, Zen has 60 supply up to attack into this, but he's caught off his guard as I am. Zealot leg speed isn't there, so that could be a detriment. But looks like he's going to be able to take this 3rd out pretty easily from the low ground. Zen now mounting up his forces, maybe looking for attack. He does have enough for a stasis. Engaging, allowing the cloak to move forward. Stasis on the southern siege tanks right there. The Zealots now with Zealot leg speed kicking in, able to get all over those initial siege tanks on the top. And Zen, with that attack, first of all, able to save his 3rd, but also able to crush this army. And the SCV's finally saturating that 3rd base, but basically it's near 200 supply for Zen. Zen can start getting aggressive as a follow-up or grab additional bases if he wants to. It looks like NeonSword has gone ahead and snuck that 9 o'clock base, just hoping that it doesn't get scouted. Interesting location for the science facility. EMP being researched to go ahead and try to shred troops. Level 2 weapons is online. Siege tanks should come out of stasis shortly and be cleaned up fairly effectively and easily. It looks like Zen going to go ahead in the midst of this, try to grab some territory in the bottom right. He is going to need to clear out those mines before he's able to do so. But now, yeah, NeonSword needs to sit back, re-macro, and hold on, because... And let's see if that 9 o'clock base gets spotted or not. He does have a slew of factories, only 2 machine shops to refill in those siege tanks, and Zen now engaging from that southern flank up the ramp. Only 6 siege tanks there to engage. Defense matrix on the forward siege tank. Turret leveling into that Arbiter, but I'm not sure that it makes much of a difference. These 2 siege tanks not even siege in the rear. SCV's pulling off the line to try to defend this, and there's still a huge chunks of troops. 2 additional siege tanks moving up. 1 defense matrix dropped. They do have level 2 weapons, level 1 armor, so they are hitting really, really hard against the +1. But there's still a lot of Dragoons, and a lot of SCVs have lost their lives across this 3rd base. So this has been emptied, and it looks like it's going to be evacuated, but Zen also needs to go ahead and discover that 9 o'clock base, although it's not very well saturated, to fully capitalize on this. He's got more troops out there. It looks like he's doing a pretty good job of macroing. He's got near double the supply. Command center under fire, going ahead and floating out. Looks like the Arbiter getting taken out by that turret over that edge. The Dragoons still standing on the high ground, pushing those Vultures back. Siege tanks firing from the distance, clearing out a lot of troops. An additional observer moving up to go ahead and spot those mines to allow those Dragoons potentially to get aggressive. I think they can just hold there for now. And Zen doing the get ahead. Oh, looks like there was a Vulture here. Might have gotten a kill, but it looks like it's not going to get much else because it's very low on health and there's 2 cannons fielded there in the meantime. A dropship out that first of all is going to get spotted, but also drawing this Dragoon and now discovering this 9 o'clock base that is not defensible for NeonSword right this second, although defensible for the moment. You can see the Dragoons re-engaging. The Observer just needs to, be there overhead, and there's just not enough troops to defend this. The dropship scooping up, it can go ahead and disrupt a little bit, potentially the 3 o'clock base most disruptible with the pylon wall there. Looks like it is making a beeline that direction. But in the meantime, looks like some additional territory probably going to get taken out. Some Dragoons getting a little bit too aggressive there. Zen holding short, now gathering up, attacking. Dropship making its way across the map. Zealot actually is going to go ahead and go for mine clearage. And that's going to be the end of the 9 o'clock base. So it's basically going to be two base versus, and that shuttle not quite unloading. So 2 base versus what is soon to be 6, although the main nearly mined out, will be mined out for NeonSword shortly. Command center lifted off, and now it's kind of the last hurrah for NeonSword, starting to move out with those troops. And there's a big battalion of troops to go ahead and engage at that third. Zen careening down. Arbiter leading the way, just in flight, and there's a decent amount of siege tanks back here to go ahead and engage the rest of these troops. But with that base taken out at the 9 o'clock location, the Vultures dying there, Zen in firm control of this match. The command center trying to re-land to retake the third. The Vultures are all that's there on defense. Some of them trying to get mine drags to the north. SCVs desperately trying to distance mine before that command center is even established. It dies on the ground. Decent stasis in the front. Still 5 siege tanks left, but that number is dwindling as Zealots are able to get to the front. And Zen doesn't even need to press this. He can just go ahead and sit back and let NeonSword starve out. His main is gone. His natural expansion will be empty in not too long. So all he has to do is kill these SCVs still trying to mine, and there's GG. Zen taking that game 1, which one would expect from the organizer. Great play. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Love covering this series. Thank you guys for listening.